to start by saying that there were 10 of us, including Rachel, that went to Japan a few weeks ago to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the sister city relationship between Koshu, Japan, and the city of Ames. And I think, Cindy, did you hand make that little thing, or?
One stitch at a time.
One stitch at a time. Anyway, we have a few things to present, and I think just an exciting report, as well as some exciting things coming up in the future. So we're thrilled to share with the council and also with the community to hear about what's going on and what the future holds. So Cindy, I'll turn it over to you.
So I am Cindy Hicks. I am the current board president of the Ames International Partner Cities Association. I reside at 2427 Tullamore Lane, Ames, Iowa. So this year, as the mayor said, marks the 30-year anniversary of our sister city relationship with Koshu, Japan. In 1993, Ames signed an agreement with Koshu to embark on a friendship that would be based on cultural exchanges and educational exchanges. Since that time, hundreds of Ames residents and Ames middle school students have made the journey to Koshu and have, in return, hosted Koshu residents and Koshu middle school students in their homes. This connection has created opportunity for our citizens, our children, and our city officials to experience and explore other cultures. But this type of person-to-person diplomacy is especially beneficial for our kids. It teaches them to respect and celebrate the differences in all people. Learning about different cultural aspects offers new experiences for our kids. And it also helps them to realize that we're all humans, despite differences in how we look, dress, or what we eat or celebrate. But aside from a better understanding and awareness of other people's beliefs and practices, learning about different cultures can also help us better understand and appreciate our own. After all, our culture is an essential piece of our identity. This is the opportunity that the city of Ames has provided for hundreds of our middle school students over the past 30 years. In June, a delegation of 10 people traveled to Koshu to reconnect post-COVID and celebrate this 30-year milestone. The delegation consisted of Mayor Hala, Eric Schmidt from the Chamber of Commerce, City Council member Rachel Junk, Board Vice President, AIPCA Board Vice President Marina Crava, AIPCA Board Secretary Callie Sandal, one of our board members, Dr. Valerie Stahlbaumer, citizens Dyke Hicks, Olivia Gallion, and Dan Gill, and then of course myself. It was the perfect delegation for this trip, as every single delegate added value, asked questions, and looked for new opportunities for the city of Ames. And man, did we discover new opportunities. This was very timely because on this trip, we felt it was also time to take a look at the relationship and determine if it was worth maintaining. Well, the answer to that question was a resounding yes on both sides. We discovered a desire to broaden the goals of our connection. And with details on that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric.
Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, City Council, for the opportunity to talk about this really incredible trip. It's not lost on me. I actually had to pinch myself a couple times while I was on the other side of the world that, this type of relationship is fostered through the city of Ames and has been maintained over the past 30 years. And Cindy pointed to a couple of those reasons, but the fact that, we have middle school students and we have, people from our community that are able to go to Japan and experience a different culture is really incredible. And that's a result of the fact that this relationship has been fostered over the past 30 years, and now we'll continue to be able to do that. So as we prepared for the trip, Cindy, myself, the mayor, we talked about this was kind of on pause from what I gathered for the past couple of years, as was everything due to the pandemic and COVID. And so this is really an opportunity where we had to ask ourselves, what is this relationship about? How do we continue it moving forward? And we actually pressed pretty hard on the delegation over there to also ask themselves that same question. And so as we continue to have meetings and of course for us, who are the tourists and the visitors over there, we got to experience some of the cultural aspects of Japan. We also had some really great conversations with their leaders over there, not only with the city council, but we met with what was their chamber of commerce as well. And it was through those conversations that what I believe really heightened the trip. And so I think that having had those conversations, their perspective on this relationship also shifted while we were over there, so much so that the delegation that is now coming to Ames and visiting, our country and our community in the fall is much more robust than what it was, I would say, a month ago or even a couple weeks ago. Really, that shifted. And so, some exciting things will take place. We got to talk to them about their business and industry while over there. And our goal is that is going to continue when they come here. Because, really, this was part one of what is a two-part trip. We experienced their culture, but now they're going to do the same with their mayor coming here, their superintendent of education visiting our community. And so that's really exciting. Cindy also mentioned the middle school. That relationship is already underway and continuing on how we can have some middle school students experience Japanese culture, initially virtually, with the plan of that continuing in person as well. And then one of the tasks that I am taking on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, but ultimately our community as well, one of the goals of the Ames International Partner Cities Association is to raise awareness across our community about this partnership and this relationship. And so I'm dedicating a spread and a story in the Ames Chamber of Commerce Traction magazine to sharing this story, just so that the rest of our community, although maybe not in person, but they can be aware and be able to experience and understand that this relationship does exist. And so the quick plug for that publication is, we print 20,000 of those, that magazine on a quarterly basis. And so based on the feedback we received, we know that people engage with it. And so I think this is certainly a story that is worthy within that publication. So I'm excited for our community to be able to learn more from that.
Rachel, you want to offer any observations? It was a pleasure having you along with, and you and Olivia sure contributed a lot from your perspectives.
Yeah, I think the trip was an incredible experience to meet people and get to see what their city in Koshu is like, what the city government is like, city council, chamber of commerce. These things might all be different from here, but there's different learnings and takeaways that we can bring back to make Ames government better and to make our city better as well. The hospitality, the welcoming that we experienced from Koshu it blew my mind. It was an amazing trip, and I'm so excited to have people from Koshu here in October and be able to show them that same hospitality and keep strengthening and growing our relationship for hopefully another 30 years.
Yeah, just to build on what's been said is that my understanding is initially they're going to send 4 people over, and now has grown to 10 people. And it just shows that they really have embraced and are excited about strengthening the relationship. And I think that we had a little bit of question in our back of our mind: is this really going to continue? And we met with the mayor and his staff and had a very, of course, you have to do translation. It takes a little while to kind of go through that process, but had great translators. I think we did. I understood the English, but I think that there was a gradual warming and growth, and at the point where it was almost hard to say goodbye on the end of the beginning of the morning of the 4th day. But we also want to, as you mentioned, Cindy and Eric, is we want to bring this home to the residents of Ames, not just having a few people experience it. And so we're hopeful that one of the people coming over is he actually has started a company that manufactures room fresheners, fragrances, and the like. And we're talking to them about, is there a way that we can somehow market those in Ames, Iowa? And then he came up with the idea, well, can we kind of combine some things from Iowa and with what he's doing? Because he's using regional, local products to make that, and actually create like a sister city type of a fragrance, for example. And then there's a gal that works with herbal teas. And so we were thinking, man, there's lots of things. And so my mind's already spinning. What can we do to show, in return? And also, I didn't realize it, but this is the Napa Valley of Japan. There's 40 wineries everywhere you go. There's grapevines in people's front yards, side yards, next to cemeteries, along the streets, you name it. And so without spilling all the beans, we're kind of trying to noodle on what are some things we can do to further the relationship, so people can walk into a store or hear about Koshu City and it's like, oh yeah, the mayor and a few other people went on a vacation for 3 or 4 days. That was not our we did enjoy it. It was very, very enriching from a cultural standpoint, but we were on a mission to really see what we can do to really help strengthen the relationship. And so I appreciate Cindy's leadership. I have to say, honestly, full disclosure, I was a little skeptical. I was really skeptical going over, but it really, I'm thrilled that they're coming, and we're going to make it a high priority. It's October 16th and 17th, Monday and Tuesday. And I'm pleased they're coming in October, because October is a very, very busy month for them. That's harvest season for them. There's lots of festivals, lots of events. And so they're squeezing it in. They're flying on a Sunday, and then they take off on a Wednesday morning. So I'm sure we'll announce what some of the things are going on, but I think there's going to be some cool things that we're going to do and showcase. So, and they made a big deal, a really big deal, of this being the 30th anniversary. I'll turn it over to you, Cindy, to maybe give a little history or talk about what you got there. And I got something also to show and present.
So while we were there, they presented us with a couple of gifts for the city of Ames. And so this right here is what is called a Teru Bozu, Japanese hanging dolls. It's a tradition that started in the Edo period. Japanese farmers would hang the dolls outside of their windows by the string to ensure good weather. Traditionally, if the weather does not turn out well, a good helping of holy sake is poured over them and they're thrown in the river. We're not going to do that. In modern times, Japanese children make the dolls out of cotton and string and hang them out the window if they are wishing for sunny weather. Often maybe a school picnic date. If you hang the dolls upside down, it acts as a prayer for rain. So I saw this gift as a symbolic well wish for good weather for the city of Ames, which seems appropriate from one ag community to another ag community.
Yeah. And we were presented this plaque from Koshu City that says 30th anniversary of partner city relationship, with both of the city logo and their city logos. And so I'll put that in the display case. And coincidentally, Cindy picked a gorgeous clock, which blew the mayor away. And then he was just absolutely ecstatic. And the finish and the color was identical to this, unbeknownst to all of us. So it's just kind of telling that both on the same page. So with that, do you have any other thing you want to share, or give me an idea what's going on in October?
So to close, I will just tell you a little bit of what you can expect in the coming year with our relationship with Koshu. During COVID, we were able to connect our middle school kids virtually. And so they did some exchanges online, and then they also exchanged New Year's Eve cards. There is a wish by Koshu to do that again, because more children could be involved than just the few that can go on a delegation. There actually were hundreds of cards exchanged. So it was very fun. And so in the fall, we're going to do another virtual exchange. October 16th and 17th, a delegation of 10 people and 2 interpreters, including government officials, the superintendent of education, the Chamber of Commerce board, and staff members will come here, and we'll continue our talks on how we can benefit each other economically as well as culturally and educational. And then next summer, we will once again be able to send a delegation of middle school students to Koshu. And then in the fall, we will accept a delegation of middle school students from Koshu.